West Virginia has a chance to do the funniest thing. They also have a chance to do a great thing, or actually multiple great things. They could be bringing in one of the top offensive linemen in the country. They could also be bringing in one of the best overall athletes in the country in the 2026 recruiting class. And they could even be bringing in a former professional basketball player. What? We're going to talk about all of that in this live episode of Kuza's Corner here on this lunch hour on a Friday, November the 7th. Thank you all for joining the show. This is your home for top shelf college sports news and analysis around the West Virginia Mountaineers and occasionally a little Big 12 talk as well. Again, thanks for joining me here on your lunch hour. Now, as I mentioned, we have several topics to talk about. We are also going to talk about West Virginia's hoops win from last night as they took on the Campbell Fighting Camels. Now, let's go ahead and kick off the show with Kevin Brown to West Virginia. Kevin Brown has been a hot topic of discussion around social media and YouTube channels and others. He is the son of Tim Brown, who was a former offensive lineman at West Virginia under Rich Rodriguez. So, he understands the culture at West Virginia. He understands what Coach Rod brings to the table. He was a very good player, actually spent some time in the NFL as well. Kevin Brown is his son. He was committed to the Penn State Nittany Lions. Most of you probably already know this, but I want to make sure everybody does. But with the firing of James Franklin, he has reopened his recruitment, and West Virginia is in the mix. They went after him hard. He's already made an official visit to the Mountaineers. He did that, I think, last weekend, and he really liked his visit. However, since then, he has made a visit to an unofficial visit, I believe, to Ohio State, and he supposedly has an official visit lined up to the Buckeyes as well. So right now, West Virginia is competing with not only Penn State, because that's still an option, but also Ohio State, two major programs. One of those I would definitely consider a blue blood in Ohio State. Many would even throw Penn State in the blue blood conversation as well. That's a debate we won't have here today. But West Virginia's in the mix here. And an article came out today over at On3 that had some interesting things to say about this recruitment, and that West Virginia actually has a very, very serious shot to land this young man. Because, it's a legacy recruit. That helps. He said he really enjoys and these are not exact quotes, but I'm paraphrasing. He really likes what Rich Rod is doing at West Virginia. Believes they're on the right trajectory. And here's a quote. He says, "Can really see great things are happening there with Coach Rod and his staff," end quote. Now, he also did like his visit to Ohio State, but it sounds like West Virginia is definitely in the mix here for Kevin Brown. And I was listening to the Old Grad podcast. I recommend you go listen to that podcast. There's a couple former players on it. One of them being Justin Whitey Williams, who played with Kevin's dad, Tim. And he said on his podcast that he talks to Tim Brown still, Kevin's dad. And Whitey said that apparently Kevin, the player, the young man, has been wearing a lot of WVU gear lately. And he thinks that's a positive sign. So it sounds like West Virginia is still in the mix. Now, there's the question of money. Can West Virginia compete from a money standpoint? From everything we're reading, everything we're hearing, West Virginia is prepared to step up to the plate and pay to get this young man. We're talking, there's numbers floating around out there like $900,000 range that West Virginia would have to pay to get this stud offensive tackle to the Mountaineers. And they are apparently willing to do it. And I think they should. I think he's that good. I think he's a potential program-building player, program-changing player. He could be the next Zach Frazier, the next Wyatt Milam. You watch this young man's tape, he just mauls people. And he's playing at a high level in Pennsylvania, the 6A level, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Also, let me know in the comments, whether you're live or watching on the replay, what do you think about Kevin Brown? Do you think West Virginia has a legit shot to get him? But when you watch him play, he just absolutely mauls people. I actually got chills watching his tape. That's how good he is. I'm not lying to you. I got chill bumps. He's freaking amazing. I think he could come into West Virginia and start as a true freshman. I think he's that good. And you don't see that happen a lot in Power 4 college football. Now, some other amazing things about this young man that I found in my research. Obviously, I talked about his tape. He squats over 600 pounds, bench presses over 400 pounds. He's an absolute beast in the weight room. He's 6'5". I think now he's up to about 290. He was listed at 270 on 24/7, but he's put on some weight since then, I believe. They have him listed as the number 9 offensive tackle in the country. Some sites have him listed as high as the number 3 offensive tackle in the country. He's a top 100 recruit. Regardless of what service you look at, he's a top 100 recruit. 24/7 has him at number 95. Plays for Harrisburg High School in PA. And all indications are he wants to go to a school. He's a big family guy. Almost his entire family came with him on his visit. Had their picture taken with Coach Rod. Family's big to him. So he wants to go to a school close to home so his family can attend his games. West Virginia fits that bill. I looked it up on Google Maps or on MapQuest, actually. I think it said it was like 5.5 hour drive from Morgantown to Harrisburg, something like that. Ohio State's similar. And there could be other schools in the mix too. Like, of course, Penn State, which would be even closer to home for him, depending on what happens with the coaching situation there. But Whitey made a great point on the Old Grad podcast. November 15th, apparently, is when these players can start looking at contracts, signing these contracts, whether it be for rev sharing, NIL, these other things. And he wants to make a decision quick because he wants to get to campus in the spring as soon as he can. So he wants to make his decision. He's very focused. He's very driven. And he wants to get somewhere and start getting in their weight room, nutrition program, get the ball rolling on his college career as soon as possible. So by mid to late November, or by mid-November, we could know this young man's decision. Penn State probably won't have a coach by then. So it'll be interesting. And James Franklin likely won't have a job by then. So he may not want to wait to see what plays out there. He may go ahead and make his decision, whether it be Ohio State, WVU, whatever. So keep your eye out for that. In the next couple of weeks, we may know what Kevin Brown's decision is. Now, the question I have is, I've done videos before saying that, with the offensive line struggling earlier in the year, that maybe West Virginia should think about moving on from Jack Bicknell Jr., whose contract will be up at the end of the year. And I'm starting to walk that back a little bit now because we're starting to see some improvement on the O-line, and maybe he just doesn't have the dudes he needs. Well, Kevin Brown would be a dude. And if he likes, I don't know what he thinks about Bicknell. I'd love to know that. I don't. But if keeping Bicknell may actually be a factor here. Does he want to play for Bicknell? Does he care? Is he just sold on Rich Rod regardless who his O-line coach is? I don't know the answer to those questions. I'd love to know, but I don't. But if keeping Bicknell is a factor in this young man coming, then I think I'm willing to let him stick around on at least one more year. Because I think Kevin Brown's that friggin' good. And when you're in a rebuilding phase of a program and you have a high school player this talented that you can build around, I think you got to get him. And getting Kevin Brown would also help recruiting, in my opinion. You could potentially get other players to WVU because of Kevin Brown. They see a player like that come, they're like, man, there must be something special brewing at West Virginia. Let's go check it out. And these players have group chats and stuff together. They know each other because of the 7-on-7 stuff, the camps, all that. These players know each other. They talk. And one of those players that West Virginia could potentially get along with Kevin Brown would be another Penn State commit who was reopening his recruitment. It's Matt Sieg or Sieg. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Another Penn State commit, like I mentioned, this time he's from Western PA, goes to Fort Cherry High School, a 1A school, a very small school in PA. But he's broken multiple state records. He's an athlete. He's being recruited as a defensive back, a safety, I believe, by most programs, including West Virginia. He's being recruited very, very hard by Pitt, who has a very legit chance here. He has Pitt in his final 4 or 5 schools, along with Notre Dame, Indiana, and I think Penn State is still in the mix. But one interesting thing about Sieg, and I saw this WPIA Whippeal or WPIAL Insider, that's the association over the Western PA high school teams, and they have an account on X. They said that West Virginia has a legit chance for this young man for one reason, or the main reason being they are considering, or at least have told him or whatever, I'm paraphrasing again, that he might have a chance to play more offense with the Mountaineers. Think about that. A dual threat athlete. When is the last time West Virginia had a defensive recruit that they told could play offense? Do you remember a guy by the name of Pat White? Could we be getting another Pat White situation? Not player. There'll never be another Pat White, in my opinion, but is it a situation like that where you have a young man who's so gifted athletically that Coach Rod might look at him and say, you know what, I can make a quarterback out of that young man. And listen to some of his numbers. He's another 4-star recruit. He runs an 11.04 time in the 100-meter dash, which is really good, especially for a kid who weighs 190 pounds. He's 5'11" and a half, so he's not super tall, but he's 190, which is, pretty decent for his size, for his height. He's built thick. He's solid. He's strong. He's physical. I think at that size, he could come in and compete for playing time right away, at least on the defensive side of the ball. Now, offensively, quarterback, it might take some time, but you could plug him in other positions. And if he's that good and you could give him snaps at practice, have yourself a dual threat quarterback potentially. Now, he's played multiple positions in high school. He's played wide receiver, but quarterback is his primary position. But listen to some of the records he's broken, and I got to credit Mike Osti over at WV Sports Now. That's where I found this information. He set the touchdown record for WPIAL football, the rushing record for WPIAL football, and most recently set the all-time offensive yards record for all of WPIAL football. Western Pennsylvania Athletic, whatever. I don't know the name. Anyway, you get it. It's Western PA, high school players. All-time offensive yards record in all of WPIAL. Now, yes, he did it at the 1A level, but he's still an elite athlete. Go put the tape on. Over at Huddle. Matt Sieg, S-I-E-G, for those who are listening. And then come back to me and tell me what you think, because he's an elite athlete. On defense, he closes gaps very quick. He's a good tackler. He can break on the football on the back end, in passing situations, in coverage situations. He can hit very hard. He takes good angles. And again, he's fast. He can close lanes and gaps quick. If he makes a mistake, he has the athleticism to cover for his mistake. And even a bonus, special teams. You could plug him in as a return guy, potentially even as a freshman. He could return kicks, punts, whatever for you potentially down the road. Now, again, by playing at the 1A level in PA, maybe it will take him a little bit of time to adjust to the speed of the game at the Power 4 level. But with 1-2 years of development, he could be a stud for you. And I think if he catches on quick enough, especially on the defensive end, I think he could potentially come in and play right away. I think he's that talented. Yes, despite playing at the 1A level. A lot of it would depend on how quickly he adjusts mentally to the game and obviously the speed of the game. But if he does that, I think he's good enough to play right away, talented enough and physical enough. And he would get even bigger once he gets to WVU. He could put on 10, 15, 20 pounds in the weight room and with the proper nutrition. And the fact that he and Kevin Brown are both commits to Penn State means they likely talk to each other. Wouldn't it be cool if they get together and say, you know what, let's go do our part to do something special at West Virginia. Let's go be part of something special in this rebuild. Let's go make a difference. Because if you go to Ohio State or you go to Penn State, there's a good chance or at least you're less likely to get playing time right away as a freshman, both of these young men. They could both come to West Virginia and potentially play right away, especially Kevin Brown with the changes that they're going to have to make on the O-line next year because they have so many seniors. And because he's already playing at a higher level in the high school ball. So he's playing better competition right now than Matt Sieg is. So I think he would be more ready. and just his talent level. But again, I think a lot of it just boils down to depth and the position they're playing. But they both have a shot to come in and play right away. And that's pretty special to me. And I think that's something West Virginia can offer that other schools may not be able to, especially in the case of Brown. Because with Matt Sieg, Pitt, and of course he even said any school James Franklin goes to, he would give consideration. He apparently really likes James Franklin. And I'm hearing rumors that Virginia Tech could end up being that school. So it's possible Virginia Tech has a shot at this young man, or any school for that matter that hires James Franklin. So it'll be interesting to see where these come out. I think if I had to put a likelihood on it, I think West Virginia has a better shot at Kevin Brown than they do Matt Sieg because of his legacy, because he is an O lineman, and because he's, I just think he has a closer bond maybe to the program, for lack of a better word. So I think that connection with his dad probably, helps our chances there. And he's a tackle. I think more than likely, if I'm West Virginia and it comes down to money, I'm willing to give him more money than I'm willing to give Matt Sieg. And that's just my opinion. Not saying Matt Sieg's not a great player, but I mean, they've got a lot of other positions of need too. And I think O-line is such a huge position of need right now. You pull the Brinks truck up for Kevin Brown and give him what he needs to come to WVU. That's just my opinion. But if they can get them both, boy, what a coup that would be. West Virginia has a chance to break off a very, very special recruiting coup here by getting both of these players. Can they afford them both? I don't know. I think they can, but it might limit what you can pay other players. If Scotty Fox continues to play the way he's playing the rest of the year, you won't have to go out and break the bank for a quarterback. I think that helps. Right? It's got to. Let's go ahead and take a break for a minute for a commercial, real quick ad read, and then we'll come back and talk about Nathaniel Salmon. This is a very unique situation. We're going to talk about that next, but let's go ahead and first jump over to hear a word from our friends over at DraftKings. Your season, your shot. The NFL season is rolling, and every touchdown can bring you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. From first touchdown scorer to anytime TD props or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. New customers, this one is for you. Bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, score over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code COUZ. That's code COUZ to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first $5 bet. Plus, over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY. Text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Fees may apply in Illinois, void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer. All right. Thank you for being patient, and thank you to DraftKings for supporting what we do here on the channel. And also thanks to Rogue Media Network, Rogue Sports Network, for letting me be a part of their family. Now let's go ahead and talk about Nathaniel Salmon, or Salmon. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. This is a very unique story. I don't know. Some of you may know it. Some of you may not. We've heard about the controversy surrounding, G League players, G League basketball players now being eligible in some cases, in unique cases, to come back and play college ball, right? We've heard about that. West Virginia's looking at one of those players, is my understanding. Can't remember the young man's name. Well, now apparently there's actually a former professional basketball player looking to come back and play football, college football, and West Virginia is in the hunt for him. His name is Nathaniel Salmon, or Salmon. I'll say Salmon from here on out. Nathaniel Salmon. Salmon's the fish, though. I don't know. I doubt he wants to be. I don't know. Anyway, if you guys know how to pronounce it, let me know. But this guy, heck, I'm calling him young man. He's 21 years old. Has never attended college. He started playing professional basketball in Australia. He's at 17 years old. Now he's looking at he's been cleared by the NCAA clearinghouse with 4 years of eligibility remaining to play college football because he's never attended college. So, again, he played pro ball in Australia. He got invited to attend the NFL's International Player Pathway Program. He went to that and participated in it, and then got invited to participate in the Los Angeles Chargers minicamp as a tight end, and he went to that minicamp. Now, he did not get signed by the Chargers, but that would be valuable experience for him because he had never played football before. He said he had not even attended a football game in his life. Very unique situation here, but he's apparently very athletic, obviously by the fact he played pro basketball overseas. I think I saw that he runs his 40 times like 4.6 or something like that, which doesn't sound fast, but get this. He's 6'6". I've seen some sites list him at 6'7", 270 pounds. When's the last time West Virginia had a tight end that was 6'7"? I don't remember one. Maybe we have had one that tall, but man, that would be valuable. You remember Tanner Couz from Houston last week, how he was able to make plays? Could you imagine West Virginia having somebody with that similar build, that similar skill set? And not only that, he's 21 years old. He's a grown-ass man. He's going to be able to – the physicality is not going to be a problem for him, right? He's got grown man strength already. 21 years old, he can buy beer already. He can drink Swill Dog Bourbon legally already as a freshman. Think about that. Holy cow. This is a very unique story. Other schools, but he does have other schools interested in him and that have made offers to him. And all of them are in the Big 12. Here's the school list: Utah, Baylor, Arizona State, and, of course, West Virginia. He actually has visits planned, I believe, for Utah and I think Arizona State are the two schools he has on his visit list so far. Not sure. I haven't seen whether or not West Virginia is getting a visit or not. But this situation to me is just absolutely unique. When I first heard that he had never played football before, it kind of worried me. And I was like, man, I don't know that I'd want this guy. But, is it a project that's worth taking a chance on? Because if he ends up being a really good player and you didn't offer him, you might be hurting yourself. And the Chargers saw something in him. They invited him to minicamp. When they saw him at that NFL International Players Pathway Program, they saw something in him. They got him a minicamp. Not everybody gets minicamp invites. He got one. He was one of only a few players that did. He was one of only a few players that got invited to that program in the first place. I think it said 14 players got invited. So the NFL and the Chargers both saw something in this young man. And he, like I said, he's a really good athlete. And I think West Virginia should kick the tires on him. They've already offered him, obviously. Try to get him to campus. See what he can do. See how he feels about the campus. This time, West Virginia could get an Australian player. Well, I don't know if he's Australian, but he'd be coming from Australia, and he's not a punter, right? I don't know where this young man's from. I actually forgot to look that up. I forgot to look up to see exactly where he's from, but by most of the schools being on the list being from out west, I'm assuming that he's from out west somewhere. But he does have a 24/7 recruiting profile that I'm going to pull up here. They say he's from New Zealand, actually. Interestingly enough. He's not rated as a 4-star, 5-star, anything, but all of his offers are P4 offers in the Big 12. So, if Utah thinks he's good enough, and we know they've had some really good tight ends over the last few, Brent Keithy, as one example, who was there just last year. The Buffalo Bills have a tight end now that played at Utah. Very good player. and I'm having a brain fart on his name, but he was very good. And then you've got Arizona State. Arizona better all think he's good enough to play. So maybe there's something there. Well, let me know what you think. Should the West Virginia, go hard after Nathaniel Salmon? Should they try hard to get him? Or do you think it's not worth it? Spend that rev share money, that NIL money somewhere else. I think he could have a really good shot at getting NIL deals, third-party NIL deals with his name and with his unique story. I think it'd be a very good opportunity for him to get NIL deals potentially. Now I don't know what the NIL laws are now about overseas players. I know there's been some at one time in overseas players were not allowed to do NIL deals in the States. Not sure where that stands today. So maybe the rev share money is all you'd have to give him. I don't know. I don't know the details there, but I do like the idea that he's a good athlete. I like the idea that he's 6'7", 270, and the fact that he was good enough to get an invite to Chargers training camp or mini camp. So might as well shoot your shot, right, and go after this guy, because it could be, could he be the next, Antonio Gates type player, right? Who played college basketball and ended up being a great football player in the NFL. This will be, could be similar to that, except the opposite, right? He'd be coming from pro ball down to college football. So anyway, interesting storyline. I do want to get to this last topic of the show, which is West Virginia Hoops Win. But before I do, I want to talk about Appalachia Digital, the folks who designed our website over at WV Sports Chat. They did a great job designing that site over there. If you want to get a site design or you want to improve your current site, go to appalachiadigital.com/Couz. Let them know I sent you. They can not only design your site, like I said, they can level up your current site. They can help you get found easier on Google. They specialize in all those things. So give them a shout out, or give them a shout today. Check them out online, appalachiadigital.com, and use /Couz to let them know I sent you. And thanks to them for partnering with us here on the channel and over at wvsportschat.com. Now, let's go ahead and as soon as I get through this last topic, I will get to the comments. Thanks to everybody for hopping on here in the middle of your workday. WV Hoops win over Campbell. Is it time? Is it already time? 2 games into this season, is it already time for West Virginia basketball fans to panic? I don't think so. I know it doesn't look good. I know they didn't play well against Campbell, but they did win the game, right? So that's a positive. We got to take wins, and like Coach Hodge said in his postgame press conference, wins are not easy. They're not easy to come by. I'm not going to apologize for winning. We do have things to work on, but we're going to enjoy a win because they're hard. And I had no issue with that statement. I think some fans had a problem with it. I did not. He's speaking the truth, but because he also acknowledged they have a lot of things to work on, and they're not happy, with everything they saw, but they are happy that they won the game. They're 2-0. They actually dropped in Ken Palm after the win. I got a thing from TeamRankings.com. They actually lowered West Virginia's rankings on their site as well because it was such a tight game with Campbell. They won the game 73-65, an 8-point victory, but it was actually down to a 2-point game at one time. West Virginia did lead the entire way, but it did get trimmed down to a 2-point lead in the second half of that game. Or maybe in late first half. But nonetheless, no, it was, I'm pretty sure it was second half. It got trimmed down to a 2-point lead. And Campbell actually, it was 40-40 was the score in the second half. So they actually played with West Virginia evenly in the second half of the game. They were driving, Campbell was able to drive the ball to the paint almost at will. That's something West Virginia has to clean up. Coach Hodge said they had them spread out offensively and was running like a 5-out and was just driving it to the rim. So there's, they've got to clean that up. They got beat on the boards again, 40-36. Wasn't as big of a discrepancy this time, but you still got beat by a low major program in rebounding. Now, Coach Hodge made a great point. The 2 players that are sitting out right now for the Mountaineers, Jackson Fields, who's out with an injury, and Chance Moore, who's out because of a 5-game deal with the NCAA. Both of them are good rebounders. Both of them are 2 of the bigger players on the roster. Both of them have good length. So that does hurt their rebounding efforts. So that's something we fans need to understand. Okay? That's why it's not time to panic. Yes, the offense looked rough at times. They didn't shoot the ball well again. They only shot it 35% from three. We're 7 of 20 from the floor from three. 40% overall from the floor. Got beat in rebounding. Their free throw shooting, better this game, 74%. So, we'll take that. They were 20 of 27 from the free throw line. So you'll take that. They did turn it over 11 times, which you'd like to clean up. And unfortunately, a few of those were from Jasper Floyd, your point guard. He turned it over 3 times, led the team in turnovers. You don't want to see your point guard turning it over that many times, but we also saw what Jasper Floyd's capable of in the first game. He just had an off night. He only scored 2 points. He did have 5 rebounds, which is not bad for a point guard, and he had 4 assists, but he did have those 3 turnovers, and he was only 1 of 5 shooting. So you'd like to see him, but again, I'm not worried about Jasper Floyd. We saw what he can do in the first game. He just had a bad night. We did see Honor Huff step up and have a better day shooting. He was 4 of 9 from 3 after going 3 of 11 in the previous game. Was 5 of 10 overall from the floor and 9 of 10 from the free throw line. So another good night for him shooting the ball from the free throw line, and again, a better night shooting at this time. Just under 50% from the floor from 3. So that was good. That was a good sign. That was a good positive sign. We also saw some more positive signs from Trayson Eaglestaff. He ended up with 12 points on the day. 5 of 14 shooting, only 2 of 7 from 3. So that's not great. But he was more aggressive. He wasn't as passive this game. He drove the ball to the rim a couple times. So it looks like he's starting to get a little more comfortable, right? And that's what it's going to take for some of these guys. Like I said in my first show about this team, it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time to get comfortable in the system, take some time playing with these teammates that they've never played with before, and adjusting to this, once they start to Power 4 play, it'll be, adjusting to that level of competition. Brennan Lorient had another good day. 12 points, almost another double-double, 9 rebounds this game. Also had 5 blocked shots in the game. So that was good. I think he's only the 4th player to have, since 2019, I believe it was, to have – I'll have to look at the graphic again. But, we haven't had a ton of players get 5 blocks in one game. So, that means something. I'm looking for it right now. Bear with me. All right. He is, since Sagaba Kanate's departure following the 2018-19 season, just 3 Mountaineers have recorded 5 blocks in a game. Gabo Saboyan, Jalen Bridges, and now Brennan Lorient has done it. So that's a feat. That's a feat. So he's, Brennan Lorient once again stepped up, played a good basketball game. He did miss a couple easy shots he'd like to have back, and he only shot 2 of 8 from the floor. But overall, he had a pretty good day. Ohio had 12 points to go along with 6 rebounds. Amir Jenkins played some minutes, no points, did have an assist. DJ Thomas, the freshman, played well. 10 points, 4 of 8 shooting, 1 of 3 from behind the arc. Also pulled down a rebound. So a pretty decent day from him. He's been filling in that backup 5 spot when Ohio needs a break. And he's doing pretty good at it. I would say once Jackson Fields comes back, he will likely be filling that role. But DJ Thomas might be earning himself some playing time down the stretch too, if he continues to play like that. Morris Ugasuk come off the bench with 2 points and 5 rebounds. So a good rebounding performance by Morris Ugasuk off the bench. Had he gotten more minutes, he might have had a double-digit rebounding day. So hats off to him for his performance. But another positive, the defense. This team continues to play really good on the defensive end. Now, the second half, they gave up too many drives to the rim. I will say that. But overall, their defense was still pretty good, especially in the first half. They, once again, they forced 12 turnovers this game. They had forced 20 the previous game. So they're still forcing turnovers using their length to cause issues. Now, they missed too many shots around the rim. They've got to clean that up. I'll mention the rebounding. They have to clean that up. But let's be patient. Let's not panic just yet. Let's let this team start to gel more together, get their two more good players back into the rotation, See how they do against some Power 4 competition, later on before we start panicking. Okay? Because, the team last year even had, I think they only beat UMass by a handful of points last year in game 2, and UMass was not a good basketball team. They had a really bad record. We're not good. So it's not going to be all sunshine and rainbows when you're trying to gel. We should have learned our lesson from football, right? It's not that easy. So let's be patient, give the team some time. Now, if they're still playing like this, once we get to Big 12 play, or once they, after they get through the non-conference slate and, if they have several losses in the non-con, then maybe we can start to panic. But right now, it's too early in my opinion. They're 2-0. Their defense is still playing pretty well. Honor Huff, Trace and Eaglestaff both seem to be getting more comfortable, and they have 2 good players coming back here in the next week or so. So pump the brakes. Don't panic. But let me know what you think in the comments. Is it time to panic? I want to get your thoughts. Daniel Gigak says if WVU still looks blah versus Lehigh, maybe, but the game that matters next week is on Thursday. Absolutely. How will they do against Pitt? G. Smyrna, great point. I forgot Cole Taylor was 6'7". I had forgotten about that. Great point. Daniel Gigak says the issue with foreign players receiving NIL is if they are on a student visa. They are limited on working. It's a different visa for a work permit. Gotcha. By the way, for those listening on podcast, I am now reading comments from the YouTube live chat. I will try to read the questions out before I answer them so you can hear. Taylor Wetzel says if he likes beer, he'll love Morgantown. Kevin Luttrell's in the house. It's Coops in the house. Daniel Gigax with another comment, who's a VIP member here. He says, sound like some of the football players that previously played pro baseball and got a waiver. Great point. Henry of Scallots, who's also a VIP member. He says, Cam Goforth tape is fun to watch too. Another beast. Huge bump for us next year if we land Kevin Brown. Yes, I meant to mention Cam Goforth in my discussion about Kevin Brown. He is also another really good O-lineman that West Virginia has, I don't want to say locked in because he hasn't signed yet, but that has verbally committed and seems to be, he's always mentioning West Virginia in his timeline on social media. He seems to be locked in, right? So if you add, you have him, they have Rhett Morris, another talented O-lineman, as well as another couple guys. You get Kevin Brown, he's the icing on the cake and could arguably be the best of the bunch. Now, Cam Goforth may argue that with me. That's okay. I'm sure all these guys feel like they're the best, but that's what you want. But at least when you look at the star ratings, when you look at the highlights, those things, the level of competition they're playing against, and of course the Kevin Brown thing, a lot of that too is, his dad played that, that probably makes us a little bit biased, right? Can't lie about that. But man, you get all these guys playing on that offensive line, the future would look really bright there. Add them to Robbie Martin, Josh Isosa, some other really talented underclassmen that you can build the program with. That'd be great stuff. Never go cheap on the O-line. Great point, Daniel Gigax. He says, as you can tell from this season, never go cheap on the O-line. Great point. Thank you all for joining the show. It's not going to be a real long one today. Just want to get on here and talk about these few topics real quick during my lunch break. Want to give a shout out to Travis Overdorf and Clint Moses who have joined the chat room. Thank you all. Clint says, Couz in Morgantown, will it be rainy and cold? CU starting their freshman QB. Their fans want to air it out. I haven't even looked at the weather, honestly, for Saturday. I am going to be there, though, so I'm hoping it's not going to be bad weather. I'll pull it up right now on the Weather Channel app and see what it says. Morgantown tomorrow. There's only a 23% chance of rain, high of 61 degrees. So it looks and partially cloudy. So it looks like it might be a pretty decent day for some football. WVU Fan 13, who's a VIP member, chimes in. He says, looking forward to this weekend against Colorado. Score prediction, 48-17 WVU. Wow. WVU Fan 13 is expecting a blowout. I personally am not. I think it's going to be a little closer. I think West Virginia may come back down to earth a little bit. And I think Colorado is going to come in pissed off and ready to play. But I just think they're in a bad spot right now. I do think West Virginia gets to win by like 10, 11 points, somewhere in there. Rain Friday night into early Saturday morning, nice Saturday in the 50s. Thank you, WVU Fan 13. We appreciate you. The game kicks off at noon. Let me see what noon is showing here in Morgantown for tomorrow. Let's see. 58 degrees and cloudy, but it's supposed to clear up as the game goes on and get warmer. By game end, about 3:30, it's supposed to be about 60 degrees and partly cloudy. So looks like it could be a really nice fall day in Morgantown tomorrow. Really good football weather. Should be a great day to enjoy a game and hopefully a win. But again, let me know in the comment section what you think about if you're watching this on the playback. And by the way, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, whether you're watching it live or on the replay. And by the way, also, if you're watching the replay, there may be a button down below called Hype, HYPE, below the download and the thanks button. If you see that, now this will only appear on mobile devices. But if you're watching on a mobile device and you see that button, please press it. It really, really helps me to get my content pushed out to more people. It shows YouTube that you like my content and that you want to see me grow. So please do that. Please subscribe. I am blessed and fortunate to finally reach the 10,000 subscriber mark and exceed it. Thank you all for supporting me and getting me there. But let's keep growing this thing. Let's try to get this puppy to 20,000, right? That's the next big number. Or 15 will be a big number as well. But share it with your family and friends. Let's help get there. Another shout out to my sponsors, Appalachia Digital and DraftKings Sportsbook, your sports betting partner of the NFL. Thank you for tuning into the show. I really appreciate it. Thanks, Tosh, for chiming in here. Thanks to Leo Cole as well. They chimed in here at the end of the stream in the comments. Thank you both. I appreciate you all for tuning in, whether you're listening on podcast or watching on YouTube. Thanks a ton. Have a top shelf day and Q Country Roads.